He always said I was too paranoid for wanting to check his phone. So I never did. Until he left it charging one day, unlocked. His wallpaper changed. It wasn't us. It was her. I took a screenshot, sent it to him, then set it as my wallpaper too. When he asked why, I said, I'm learning from the best. Let me tell you about the moment I stopped being the crazy girlfriend and started being someone he should have feared. We were together 3 years. Lived together for 2. I moved from Roanoke, Virginia, to Charleston, South Carolina, because he said he couldn't do long distance anymore. I gave up my quiet life, my job at the small-town library, and came to a city I barely knew, because I loved him. He worked in real estate, always on the go, talking to people nonstop. His phone never left his hand. Even when we were eating, even when we were watching TV, even in bed. I'd ask him sometimes, who's texting you this late? He'd smirk and say, work doesn't stop at 5, Jamie. When I looked skeptical, he'd laugh and say, you're paranoid. Paranoid became a word he used a lot. If I even looked at his phone when it dinged, he'd act like I was invading his privacy. You don't trust me? He'd ask. Like he was the victim. So I didn't check. Not once. For 3 years, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Even when his stories didn't add up. Even when he worked late too often. Even when he started taking solo trips to Florida for conferences. I told myself, this is what trust looks like. That if I snooped, I was the problem. Turns out, I wasn't the problem. I was just being played by someone who knew I wouldn't look. Everything changed on a Thursday. He was home that day because one of his deals had fallen through. He was in the shower, and for the first time in years, he left his phone charging on the kitchen counter. Unlocked. I wasn't looking for anything. I swear. I just passed by and the screen lit up from a message. That's when I saw it. The wallpaper. It used to be a photo of us in Asheville, fall leaves, me in his arms, both of us smiling. But now? It was a selfie. Him. And another woman. She had red lipstick. Her lips were on his cheek. He was grinning like he hadn't grinned around me in months. I froze. My stomach dropped. My ears rang. But I didn't panic. I picked up the phone and took a screenshot. Then I sent it to him. No words. No emoji. Just the image. Then I airdropped the photo to my own phone, set it as my wallpaper, and waited. He came out 20 minutes later, towel around his waist, rubbing his hair dry. He saw me sitting at the table. Saw the look on my face. His phone buzzed. He picked it up, looked at the screen, then looked at me. What is this? He asked. Voice flat. Trying to act calm. I held up my phone, same image on my screen. Her red lipstick glowing bright under the kitchen light. I'm learning from the best, I said. He didn't move, didn't speak. He knew. And that's when I started planning. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I got quiet. That scared him more than if I had thrown something. He had no idea what was coming. But I did. Because when someone calls you paranoid for long enough, and you finally wake up and see the truth, you don't just walk away. You make sure they regret ever lying to you. He tried to talk to me that night. Jamie, come on. That picture, it's not what you think. I didn't respond. Just kept scrolling through Zillow on my laptop like I was browsing for houses. Like I was looking for a future without him. You don't understand, he said, pacing in front of me. It's an old picture. We were just friends. She was going through something. I was being supportive. I looked up at him. She was going through something, so you made her your wallpaper? His mouth opened, then closed. He had no answer. The next day, I called out of work. I needed time to think. To plan. I couldn't confront him without a strategy. I wasn't going to scream, cry, or beg. That's what he expected. Instead, I dug. I started by checking our shared laptop. He was too dumb to log out of everything. His email was open. So was his iCloud. I found dozens of pictures. Her in hotel rooms. Her wearing his t-shirts. Her sending selfies with captions like, "Miss you already, babe." He had a whole hidden life. Trips I thought were for work, he'd taken her. Atlanta, Miami, Charlotte. Same dates, same hotels, even the same damn restaurants we used to love. And here's the kicker, she wasn't just a fling. She had a key to a condo in Mount Pleasant. One I didn't even know he owned. He had bought a whole second place for her. Paid cash. My hands were shaking when I found the wire transfers. He'd been siphoning money from our joint account, money I thought was going toward our wedding one day. I didn't cry. I didn't confront. I printed everything. Screenshots, emails, bank records. And then I got petty. I contacted our landlord first. Told her we'd be moving out by the end of the month and that only I would be staying until then. Said I'd cover the rent. Then I called our internet provider and had the service transferred into my name. Changed the password. I ordered a new phone line for myself. One he didn't know about. Then I started taking things out of the apartment. Slowly, quietly. My clothes, my books, family photos, anything that had value to me. I boxed them and stored them in a friend's garage across town. He didn't notice. He was too busy working late again. Or maybe playing house at the condo with her. So I made a visit. I waited until I knew he was at work. I drove to Mount Pleasant, found the condo, and knocked. She opened the door. She looked like someone who had no idea what was coming. "Hi," I said, smiling. "I'm Jamie. You must be Ashley." Her smile dropped. She didn't say anything, just stared. I handed her a folder. Inside were the pictures, the emails, and a copy of the mortgage document with his signature on it. "You might want to get tested," I said, turning to leave. "He told me you were just a friend." That's what he always says. She didn't follow me. I didn't need her to. I just needed her to know. Back at home, I made dinner. Pasta, garlic bread, a glass of red wine. He came home around 9. Smelled the food, smiled like nothing had changed. "Wow, you cooked." I nodded. Figured I'd do something nice. For old time's sake. He sat down. Ate. Didn't notice that I was watching him the whole time. When he was done, I leaned in close and said, "Ashley says hi." He stopped chewing. I stood up and walked into the bedroom. The locks on the front door had already been changed that morning. It was about time he learned what real paranoia looked like. He didn't come home the next night. I knew where he was, probably crying to Ashley, spinning some new lie, or maybe sleeping on a friend's couch. Didn't matter. The locks were changed. His name was off the lease. I was done playing house with a stranger. But I wasn't done. Because here's what he didn't know, I still had access to everything. See, when I went through the laptop, I found something interesting. He had logged into his real estate company's client portal through our home Wi-Fi. And he forgot to log out. Curiosity got the better of me. I clicked. There it was, a list of clients, properties, contracts, and commissions. Except, something looked off. There were 2 sets of numbers. The official numbers he reported to his company, and a second set of numbers he kept hidden in a private folder. He was skimming. Double charging clients for fees, pocketing inspection kickbacks, even forging a couple of client signatures to close deals faster. He was making more than double what he told the company, and he hadn't reported a cent of it. I wasn't sure what to do with that. Yet. But I saved everything. Backed it up to an encrypted drive. I had no intention of reporting him. Not then. That wasn't my style. Not yet. Instead, I used it. I went to see his boss, a tall woman named Trisha who never really liked me. She always acted like I was just another clinger attached to one of her top agents. I dressed nice, brought coffee, smiled polite. "Hi, Trisha," I said. "I thought we should talk. Off the record." She narrowed her eyes. "About what?" "About Derek. And what he's been doing behind your back." She folded her arms. "He said you two split." "Oh, we did," I said. "But this isn't about our breakup. It's about fraud. You might want to see this. I pulled out my iPad, showed her the files, walked her through the steps, told her where to look in his computer, what keywords to search for, dates, times. I didn't have to tell her twice. By the end of that meeting, she was on the phone with corporate. By the next morning, Derek was suspended pending an internal audit. He called me at 3 a.m. What the hell did you do? I didn't answer. He left voicemails, one after another. Angry, then sad, then desperate. This is my career, Jamie. You're destroying my life. I texted him back, finally. No, you destroyed it. I just let the right people see what you were hiding. But here's the twist I didn't expect. Ashley called me again. Not to yell, not to fight. She wanted to meet. We sat down at a diner off the highway. She looked tired, worn out, like someone who finally realized the fantasy she bought into was a lie. She slid a folder across the table. Inside were her receipts, messages, pictures, conversations he had with other women. Not just me, not just her. There were at least 4 others. He's sick, she said quietly. And he's been doing this for years. I looked through the folder. Recognized names. Faces. One of the women had a child. Derek's name was on the birth certificate. I felt something twist in my gut. I wasn't just one of 2. I was one of many. And now I wasn't sure if I wanted revenge or complete destruction. Ashley said she had an idea. And that's when everything changed again. Prompt: add more story twist, but still keep the details consistent. No ending yet continuing. Ashley's idea wasn't what I expected. She didn't want to slash tires or burn clothes or post him all over social media. She wanted to hurt him in a way that would last. Quiet. Legal. Precise. He left a trail, she said, sipping her cold coffee. Money. Fake accounts. Stupid mistakes. We could bury him if we wanted. I stared at her. We? She nodded. I thought I was the only one. But you're not like the others. You're calm. You're smart. He hurt you, but you didn't lose your mind. I respect that. I didn't answer right away. I looked down at the photos again. One showed Derek holding a toddler. The timestamp was from just 6 months ago. The woman in the background looked maybe 22. I felt sick. Not from heartbreak. Those pieces had already fallen off me weeks ago, but from how deep this went. Ashley leaned in. You have access. I have the names. We track it all. The money, the women, the lies. And then what? I asked. She smiled. We don't take it to the cops. We take it to the IRS. It was brilliant. And brutal. Derek's biggest weakness was his money. He cared more about status than anything else. Being admired. Being the guy with the newest suit, the latest car, the flashiest house. Take that from him, and he'd crumble. We agreed to divide and conquer. Ashley tracked down the women. Some were angry. One cried. One threatened to beat him with a bat. But they all wanted justice. None of them had known about each other. He told each one they were special. Some had even met his mother. He used the same lines. The same promises. I went after the numbers. I dug through everything, our old joint accounts, receipts, Venmo history, bank statements. He was sloppy. He used the same 2 passwords for everything. Even his dummy email. In 2 weeks, Ashley and I built a case file over 80 pages long. And in that time, Derek spiraled. He got fired. His condo was frozen under investigation. He was couch surfing and trying to sell his car. One of the women, Jessie, filed for child support. He showed up at my door one night drunk. I didn't open it. I just watched through the peephole as he knocked, shouted, slurred my name. Eventually, he slumped to the ground. Jamie, please, he sobbed. You don't know what you're doing. But I did. And I was just getting started. Because Ashley found something else, something even I didn't know. Derek had proposed to her. 6 months ago. Same time he was talking to me about ring sizes and wedding dates. He had told both of us the same lie. I've never been more serious about anyone. I couldn't believe it. Not just the ring, but that she had said yes. That she had believed him. Until she didn't. Ashley handed me her ring in a small velvet box. You'll know what to do with it. I did. The next morning, I made a visit to his mother. His mom lived in a small house in West Ashley. I'd met her plenty of times over the years. She always said she liked me, always hugged me when we came over. She baked cookies when I helped decorate her tree that one Christmas. I used to think she was sweet, but now I wasn't sure how much she knew. When she opened the door and saw me, her face lit up. Jamie, I haven't seen you in so long. You two working things out. I smiled tightly and held up the box. I brought you something. She stepped aside and let me in. Her house still smelled like vanilla candles. The same ones I used to light when we had dinner together. She sat across from me on the couch. I opened the velvet box and placed the ring between us. I wanted you to see this, I said. It's the ring your son gave Ashley. While he was living with me. While he was cheating on both of us. Her face dropped. She stared at the ring like it had burned her. I reached into my bag and pulled out another folder, this one thinner. It had copies of the proposal email he sent to Ashley, with photos of him at the jeweler. Then a copy of a text from him to me from the same day. Can't wait to grow old with you, baby. She looked like she wanted to cry. I don't know what to say, she whispered. I stood up. I thought you should know what kind of man you raised. I left her there, alone on that couch, holding a ring meant for someone else's finger. 3 days later, Derek called me. He was angry again. Yelling into the phone, accusing me of ruining his life. I lost everything, Jamie. My job, my condo, my car's about to be repossessed. The IRS froze my accounts. I might go to jail. Are you happy now? I stayed quiet. He breathed heavy on the other end. All of you teamed up against me. You don't think I know. You built this, I said calmly. All I did was show people who you really are. Then I hung up. That was the last time I ever spoke to him. A month later, I got a letter from the IRS confirming they'd opened a case against him. Fraud, unreported income, suspicious transfers. I don't know what happened after that. Maybe he ran, maybe he got indicted. I didn't care. Ashley moved out of state. She wanted a fresh start. I respected that. Me? I stayed. I rebuilt. I got my own place, started freelancing from home, went back to school part-time. It wasn't easy, but it was mine. But I'll admit this, there were nights I laid awake wondering what kind of person I'd become. I never thought I'd be the woman who'd destroy someone's life. Who'd plan revenge with strangers. Who'd go behind backs, dig into accounts, lie by omission. But when someone breaks you piece by piece, slowly over years, and then calls you the paranoid one, you don't just walk away. You light the match. And you let him watch it burn.